Hey friends, my name's Ciotti. It's my birthday. I'm 43. I got drunk and fell asleep today. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. This will be a little bit shorter of a stream. I was supposed to stream 6 to 8. It's 6:45. Maggie and I went to Poppy's, our favorite little local Cuban grill, and I had an margarita. That's a Top Gear joke. That's a Clarkson joke. And I don't really drink anymore because it ruins my stomach. And 3/4 of the way through, I was pretty hammered. Not hammered, but I was just drunk. And then we came home and I fell asleep. That's been my day. The roofer guys came. They ripped the good YouTube. Great. Way to encoding has been overloaded. Please turning down. Consider turning down, it says. There's nothing I can do, YouTube. This is what I do every single day for the last 3 years. You need to figure it out, you losers. Yeah. Came home. I was like, oh, I could watch Top Gear for like 5 minutes! Here we are. I wanted to get the 1003s ready. I didn't. So I'm going to be doing that now. These are the Zing 1002s that we tested on Monday. Nothing wrong with them. I just don't need 3 sets of 1002s that perform exactly the same. So these Zing 1002 22,000s are for sale. They've had 2 batteries run through them. They're absolutely brand new. Let me know if you want them. I'm going to be taking them off this frame, and then I'm going to put the 1003s onto this frame, and then we're going to take the canopy and VTX and AIO out of this frame, put it into that frame. Before I swap it over to the other frame, though, I'm going to try to remove the heatsink with some plastic razor blades. We'll see how that goes. Stephen Woodruff says, if YouTube dies, would you stream on Twitch? I mean, like, if YouTube went under and went away forever, I guess, yeah, I would stream on Twitch. But if YouTube is still around, I will not stream on Twitch. FPV people don't hang out on Twitch. Video gamers hang out on Twitch, so I don't have an audience over there. But yeah, like if YouTube were to go away completely, I would either use Twitch or, I don't know, some other streaming service that would pop up to replace the YouTube. In the chat, Stephen Woodruff was first. Sky High Charlie, Hockey Rounds, Frank Nicholas, Arcs UK, Gusto, Timmons, Raging Leet, Metalrutskin, Danzil the Terrible, Douglas Otwell, Wake and Bake, Lucky, Cole Powers, Feigning Goat, Gusto FPV, Beef FPV, a whole bunch of I's and lowercase L's, I guess. Striker, Marshmallow Hunters, Crom, Walter, Stavel, Daters, Kelly T, Dan Richmond, Hockey Rounds, Northern Tier, Cole Powers, Siskel, Striker, CMYK, Fork Bomb, Double A. What's up, brother? How are you? How you been? Hey, happy birthday to Brandon's Baked Beans. He was born on the same day in the same year as me. That's weird. Technique, Jeff FPV. Why is it not Jeff PV? I'm not mad, Jeff. PD Puff, BLD, Riot 9. What's up, everybody? Hopefully I got everyone. If not, well, you know. Where's this mic at? Perfect. Perfect. How's the mic sound? Any better? Too loud? Too loud? Okay. I'm not turning it down. If you want to talk to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you want to support me on the wild and woolly adventure that is doing FPV full-time, which I do not recommend, head on over to CiottiFPV.com and click a bunch of buttons. There's a bunch of affiliate links there. There's a link to Patreon that helps me out the most. You can buy yourself some stuff on Etsy. There's a PayPal link if you want to celebrate my birthday with me and you don't want to do a super chat because YouTube will take 30%. There's a Fiverr link where you can work one-on-one with me. A bunch of other stuff. Do it. Stephen Woodruff says happy birthday. Sky High Charlie says happy birthday. Ark says happy birthday. Timon says happy birthday, dude, to those of us who know how to use a rotary phone. Oh boy. Yeah, or just a phone in general, right? Not a computer with a screen on it. Tiny little computer with a screen on it. Mudderton says happy birthday to one gangly old weirdo to another. Denzel the Terrible says can't stick around, just drop by to say happy birthday, you magnificent bastard. Feigning Goat says happy birthday, homie. Cole Powers smoking fat clouds in your honor. Beef FPV says happy birthday. Striker says happy B-Day. Crom says happy B-Day. Walter says Jojo Judge. Happy birthday. Stavel says happy birthday. Daters says happy birthday. Dan Richmond says happy birthday. Frank Nicholas says video is glitching about every second. Yeah, I hope YouTube gets their shit together. I'm not doing anything different than I ever did. And OBS is showing 0 dropped frames. So yeah, it's on YouTube. Siskel says happy birthday, cuz. Hope it's all it can be. Has been so far. Striker says, Ciotti, you look good for 43. I didn't think you were my parents' age. Yeah, I'm parents' age. CMYK says, yo, dudes, and CiottiFPV. Stephen Woodruff says, if YouTube, we got that. Technique says, happy B-Day. Kram says, question for you. Could you give a quick rundown of what ESC PWM frequency you use on what whoop? Great question, Kram. ESC PWM frequency is way simpler than everybody seems to make it out to be. 24 kilohertz is the simple answer. 24 kilohertz is going to give you the best braking performance. These motors not only accelerate, but they also brake. And the braking force is actually really important. When you think about like you're flying and the wind hits you and the wind knocks it up like this back motor is going to make power to fight that. Well, if the wind keeps hitting you, that motor is going to keep making power, and the thing is going to start to fly away, even though you might be really low in the throttle, or maybe even 0 throttle, right? So the braking, what's also going to happen when the wind hits it like this and pushes it up like that, is that this motor is going to break down. And so the more braking force that you've got, the less it's going to want to fly away when the PID loop is working. And so, yeah, when in doubt, 24 kilohertz. The only problem with 24 kilohertz is that you lose a little bit of efficiency and a little bit of power over 48. 96 can go to hell. 96 kilohertz, you really sacrifice braking. You don't get much extra efficiency or power. You do get a little bit, but for the most part, 96K can sit on a cactus. 48 is the way to go. If you want a little bit of extra efficiency and a little bit of extra power, 24 is what you want. If you want slightly better flight characteristics, slightly better PID loop performance, and you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of thrust and or efficiency. That's it. Nice and simple. Best case scenario is to run a BL Heli 32, which you can't run on a Cinewhoop, so, you know, micros and 5-inch and shit like that. You can get ESCs that are BL Heli 32. There's an option in BL Heli 32 for variable PWM, and you want to set the low to 24 and the high to 48. And then you get the best of both worlds. When you're at 0 throttle or low throttle, you're going to get the extra braking performance of 24. When you're at high throttle, you're going to get the extra efficiency and power of 48. That's it. Don't run 96. And whenever you get a quad, check the PWM frequency to make sure it's not on 96. There's a couple of AIOs that come with 96, and they fly like a box full of smashed bums at 96. Not really, but it's a little bit worse. So yeah, that's it. That's all you need to know about PWM frequency. Realistically, that's all you need to know about BL Heli or Bluejay. There's a million other settings in there, and if you go on Facebook, the place for bad advice, lots of people will tell you all kinds of dumb shit about how you should set those other settings and how they're incredible and they'll change your world. They will not change your world, nor are they incredible. They do little to nothing, and in most cases, they work worse. The people that actually know what they're talking about, that have tested these, a lot of those different ESC settings, have found that the stock settings are typically the best. Every once in a while, with like a lifter or like a really weird build, you might need to like change startup power or the timing. But yeah, 99% of the testing that I've seen shows that the defaults are the best. You know, BL Heli, Bluejay, they know what they're doing. They know how to set the defaults. And like, why would they not set the defaults to be as good as possible, right? Like, sometimes we don't know better than the developers. I know that's hard to believe, but yeah, sometimes the developers actually know what they're doing. So yeah, most recently, Chris Rosser did a whole bunch of ESC testing. Ryan Harrell has done a bunch of testing in the past. Ryan Harrell's website is Mini Quad Test Bench. Bob Rugi, Kebab, FPV Cycle. He did a bunch of experimenting with ESC settings a while back, and initially he thought there were like big gains to be had, and then after a while he kind of realized that it was either placebo or just, you know, whatever, aberrations in the testing. And last I talked to him, he's back to defaults, which is great, man. Like, one less thing to screw around with, right? One less thing to adjust wrong and screw up the flight performance of your rig is a good thing. So yeah, there you go. There's my 5 minutes of ESC settings for you. Good question, brother. Raging Leet says happy birthday. Northern Tier says happy birthday, my friend. BLD says happy birthday. Scrolling back up since YouTube did the thing on my birthday. Thanks a lot, YouTube, you jerks. Justin Waller says happy birthday, Rabid Rabbit. Rabid Rabbit says happy birthday, rip some packs for the live stream. That's the plan, brother. We're going to fly 6 batteries today. Hopefully a couple of them will be on 1003s. I'm really excited to see how these 1003s are. I have a feeling that they're going to be awful heavy. I know that they're awful heavy. I have a feeling that they're going to be a little bit too heavy. I also have a feeling that they're a little bit too big of a motor for a 75 millimeter motor-to-motor 1.6-inch propeller frame. If we had better tri and quad blades, these motors might be okay here. But I have had no luck with anything other than the 1.6-inch bi-blades. in terms of them being better than the biblades. Like, they're not bad, they're just nowhere near as good as the GemFan 1610 biblades. But we're here to test, damn it, and test we shall. Stavel says, PayPal for a birthday gift. Thank you, dude. Mothi says, do you ever drum and whoop at the same time? I do not. I'm not good at either one of I'm not good enough at either one of those things to do them at the same time. That's not true. I'm pretty good at both of those things. Stavel, I think this is you, Chris K, with a $25 PayPal. Thank you so much, brother. He says, happy birthday. Here's the Tylenol and water to nurse that hangover in your 40s. I think I'll escape this I don't think I'll have a hangover this time. I would have it right now if I was gonna. But Poppies gave me water, so I'm gonna drink it, damn it. Thank you so much, Stavel. Very cool of you. Frank Nicholas with a $50 PayPal. Holy hell. Thank you, brother. He says, happy birthday. Dude, very, very, very cool. Very supportive. Thank you, brother. Siskel FPV jumping onto the Patreon. Welcome to the Gangly Gang, my friend. Thank you for the support. And let me just get this out of here. Facebook is about to ban me again. They continue to say that I've uploaded content that doesn't meet their copy protection rules. I finally figured out what it is. It was a link to a live stream, one of my live streams, in which I did not play any copyrighted material. So what I guess is happening is somebody is fucking with me, basically. This all kind of happened this all started happening, not all of it, but some of this recently started happening around the time with the Fractal Sucks shit. So I'm assuming that someone who doesn't think that Fractal sucks is trying to ruin my career. So thanks for that, scumbags. It might not be that, but the timing is awful convenient. And yeah, I mean, there's no other real explanation because there is no copyrighted material in there, so it's impossible that if Facebook had some sort of a content-aware copyright filter. Not only that, but it's not content that's on Facebook. It's a link to YouTube, and I guarantee you that Facebook can't chase the link and then search through the content on YouTube. Even if they could, there is no copyrighted content in there, so it must be somebody manually saying that it's copyrighted content. So yeah, you know, losers will be losers, I guess. Sucks, but hey, I'm completely done with Facebook. I haven't yeah, I'm not gonna get on a Facebook rant again. Life's too short, man. But hey, shitty people will be shitty people. Also, T-Bone1, thank you for joining the Patreon, man. Very cool of you. Much appreciated on the support. Let's see here. I think I'm caught up here. I think I'm caught up on emails. No, I'm not. Crom jumping onto the Patreon as well. He's addicted to gambling, and he's going to get entered into a whole bunch of giveaways. Thank you so much, Crom, for the support. Enjoy the stuff that you get from joining the Patreon, man. Very cool of you. Much appreciated. P. Morty with a $5 super chat. He says, happy birthday. Can't tell you how much I love the streams and just chilling, talking tiny whoops. Thank you for all you do for us. Thank you, brother, for allowing me to do this for you guys. It's very cool of you. Frank Nicholas says, you've got mail. Thanks again, brother. BLD0550 says, damn, 30%, that's a ripoff. I mean, it can't. Look, I've got 3 years of 4 live streams a week, 2 to 4 hours each, being stored for free on YouTube. That's a pretty good deal, all things considered. You know, I can't imagine how many terabytes of data they store for me completely free of charge, and then you guys can all access it. So, yeah, you know, it's like taxes. You go out and you get a real job, and you get like 30% taxes taken from you. YouTube does the same thing, but then on April 15th, you have to pay even more. Although, not much more, because you just say that your expenses were pretty much exactly what you made, and then you're okay. But yeah, you know, everybody got to pay taxes. I got to pay YouTube taxes. It is what it is. I'm a lucky guy to be able to do this. AJ Farris says happy born day. CMYK dropping the CiottiFPV.com link. Foo Panda says happy B-Day. PDPuffFPV says happy birthday as well. B-Day as well. Raging Leet says happy B-Day. Northern Tier says happy birthday, my friend. BLD says happy birthday. Where we at here? Justin Waller says happy birthday. Rabbit says happy birthday, Rips and Packs live stream. I think we're good there. Here we go. Siskel FPV says, if you weigh the 1003s before you put them on. That's going to be the, before you put them on, that's going to be the nail in the coffin. The 1102s are almost a gram lighter. Yeah, I know that about the 1003s. I know that they're heavy, and a couple people that I trust have said that they're too heavy. And I don't doubt it, but for example, right? The Meteor 75 Pro frame is something like 7 grams heavier. Like, it's way heavier. But it doesn't necessarily fly that much worse, because you get a bunch more power from the bigger props. I have a feeling that the 1003s are going to end up on this frame, but I want to try it on the Meteor 75 airframe first. But yeah, let's weigh them. Matter of fact, let's weigh all these motors. I didn't weigh the 1002s yesterday. Can somebody pull up a weight? Can somebody pull up a weight for me on the BetaFPV 1102s? I'm certain it's on their website. Can somebody also find a weight for me on the Flywoo 1002s? Because I'm not going to take those off to weigh them. I am willing to take one of these RCinPower 1002s off, though. I love the idea of weighing these motors for myself, because I have seen websites that are not quite right on their weights before, and every scale can potentially vary a little bit. Speaking of scales that can vary a little bit, if you want to see how much your scale varies, join my Patreon and message me over on Discord. I have a set of calibrated weights that I will rent out to you for the cost of shipping, or more if you want to support me a little bit more than that, so that you can set your scale perfectly. RCinPower 1002 is 2.55 grams. RCinPower 1003 is 3.35 grams. So 0.8 of a gram heavier. I have heard that the BetaFPV 1102s are basically 0.15 of a gram heavier than most of the 1002s. iFlight Zing 1002, 2.55 grams. I'll be damned. Is it really exactly the same as the RCinPower? It's pretty impressive. Yeah, 2.55. That's wild, because the Zing has a big old chunk of shrink wrap here. Shrink wrap is very heavy because it's rubber. The Zing has a big old chunk of shrink wrap here, and then the wires on the Zing are either thicker, or the insulation might just be thicker than the RCinPower. The RCinPower 1002, like, when you look at it, it looks like a really lightweight motor. They skimped. They didn't put a piece of shrink wrap here to protect the solder joints. They used really skinny cables. Sometimes the really skinny cables are not a different wire gauge. They just have thinner insulation. But the insulation is like a silicone-y, rubber-y material, and that's heavy. So I'm actually really surprised that the RCinPowers are not lighter than the Zing. The Zing also has a taller motor bell on it, and it's a two-piece. That's why the Zing weighs the same because it's a two-piece bell. Two-piece bell motors are almost always lighter because they can use two different materials, whereas the RCinPower is a one-piece bell, so that makes sense. Interesting though that they both end up at 2.55 grams. I like that. That makes our lives a little bit easier. You know, the more 1002s weigh exactly the same, the less we have to go, well, I went with this one. I forgot the most important part. I went with this one because it's a little bit lighter. Does this mean that eggheads are like trained seals, I guess? I don't know what I'm going for there. It's gonna get weird tonight. Martin Tanley says, hey there, any input on the best Cinewhoop 2 to 3 inch frames for Walksnail and a GoPro? Respect your opinion. Cheers. No. Moving on. Mothy says, Martin, that's a good question. A 2-inch rig to carry a GoPro is going to be a nightmare. Don't do that. 2-inch propellers are extremely inefficient and extremely loud. So yeah, a 2-inch rig carrying a GoPro is going to suck. 2.5, start at 2.5 inch. 2-inch has pretty much no benefits over 2.5. So yeah, 2.5 is the starting point. I don't really like any of the 2.5 inch builds. They're all pushers. I don't like pushers. They force you to run AIOs. And I don't think that pushers have enough propeller protection to fly around people. And a main reason to fly a Cinewhoop is that you're flying around people. So for me, Cinewhoops that are going to carry a GoPro start at 3 inches. And my favorite is the FPV Cycle Cinesplorer. It's just, you know, it was one of the last Cinewhoops to come out, and Bob Ruge from FPV Cycle used a lot of the lessons that we learned from all the other 3-inch Cinewhoops and put them into practice and made the lightest and strongest and most, second most configurable, customizable Cinewhoop frame that there is. The most configurable is the Squirt, which is okay, but the Squirt is the first Cinewhoop frame that ever came out. They did make a V2, but they didn't really change anything that matters. The worst part about the Squirt is how fragile it is, mainly because it's a solid base plate. And yeah, it's just old as hell. The Squirt is just a super, super, super old frame. And yeah, there's a lot of newer, better ones that exist. But the Squirt has been around so long and so many people have been using it that there's a ton of aftermarket parts for it. And so you can make it so that it's kind of viable, basically. But it's still old and moldy. So one thing that I just noticed is that the Meteor 75 airframe has these weird little plastic pockets that kind of make it easier to mount the motors, but not really. And then these 1003s have a motor stator base that allows you to mount them on the 3-bolt Whoop stuff or the 4-bolt toothpick stuff. And the stator base is overlapping these little plastic ears on this frame. But luckily, I have just cranked the screws down so hard that it's flattened that plastic out. I'm going to go around real quick and crank it even tighter to make sure that these motors are sitting totally flat. Right now, I think these motors are sitting like that a little bit, each one, which is not the end of the world, but it's also not a good thing. So, yeah. The Meteor 75 airframe, ideally what you want to do is cut those plastic ears off. Those plastic ears are totally worthless. They really don't make the motors much easier to mount. So yeah. On this third one, I kind of wish I should probably cut them off. But hey, I did the first 3 this way. I might as well do the last one like this. So if you're going to run these 1003s on a Meteor 75 airframe, be careful about that. Either just do what I'm doing and crank the 2 inner screws down really hard to flatten the plastic out, or cut it. Ideally, cut it. Because you don't, it's not great to be cranking these screws down so hard. The stator bases on these Cinewhoop motors only give you like 1.5 mil of material to screw into. But this plastic is also pretty soft, so it seems to be flattening out pretty easily. So there's that, which is interesting. I wondered why these like when I was trying to line these motors up with the screws, I wondered why they weren't. They were being a little bit more difficult to get lined up properly, and now I know. Let me just check it. Let me confirm that it is overlapping that. This one I haven't cranked down yet. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it's sitting up on that thing, but whatever. Not the end of the world. Stavels, we got that. Rob Oxison says, typically me, late to the party. Happy gangly birthday. Thank you, brother. You didn't miss anything. I was late too. I got drunk and fell asleep. YouTube did the thing again. Scrolling back up to find my place. Here we go. Timon says, what is PWM dithering? I don't know. I would Google it. I'm sure Google will tell you some things. There was a time where people were saying, yeah, you need to turn off PWM dithering. And I've tried it a couple times, and there was no difference. So it's not something that's super noticeable. I don't know what it is. I never took the time to actually read about it. I don't think it's anything that's game-changing, because I haven't... When something makes an actual difference, I'll kind of hear about it, right? Like, more than a couple of people will be talking about it. So yeah, and I have turned it off and on, and I've noticed no difference whatsoever. So yeah, no clue. Ram Donko with a bunch of emojis. Metadartskin says, in the latest Bluejay release candidate, they're talking about removing 96 because of the lack of benefit. I like that. I like that a lot. I wish they didn't ship... I forget what it was, but there was an AIO that came... I think it was a Happy Model AIO, actually, that came on 96. And man, it flew like ass. When I put it on to 48, it was noticeably better. Rob Axelson says, for what it's worth, check my HD0 Mobula 6 2024 had a bad motor. It was actually a bad motor pin in the plug. Wow. I've seen stuttering with these rigs. Check the pins. Very cool. Wait a second. What? Oh, right. The HD0 Mob 6 2024 has the plug header version of the AIO. Quad66 says happy birthday. Thank you, brother. Happy birthday to you as well. I haven't done that in a long time. Somebody brings you your food at a restaurant and says, enjoy your food. And you say, oh, yeah, you too. Did anybody hear me? Everybody fucking heard you. Free Lojo dropping the Patreon link. Thank you, dude. There's another situation where that happens a lot. Where somebody that's doing their job says something to you, and then you, out of just, habit or whatever, say, "Oh yeah, you too," and it's the most soul-crushing thing ever. There's actually a commercial about that. Like the kid's dad did it, and then the kid was like horrified. Jay Hines says happy birthday, and a Walksnail's on the way. See your email for tracking info. Thank you, brother. I will. I'm gonna get caught up in my emails tomorrow. I finished up my Sunny King Criterium edit today from 2023. Better late than never! I tried to get it done last week, but I didn't. It turned out really good, actually. I used the, at the beginning of the live stream, I played 3 of the Insta360 Go 2 files at the same time from this year's Sunny King Criterium. So look out for that edit in 12 months to 2 years. Oh shit! Hey, I also have the 0802 27,000 kV 1mm motor shaft, lightweight blue motors for sale. These are the stator, the 27,000 kV stator from an iGao, an OG blue iGao motor. And then the bell, the EX, the lightweight bell from the 0802 33,000 kV motor, and then the 1mm motor shaft. So for a 65mm Cinewhoop, these will be pretty good because of the 1mm shaft. You can absolutely run these on a 75mm rig, just don't crash the shit out of it because the 1mm shaft will not last super long. But yeah, these are available. They do say 33,000 kV on the bell. They are not 33,000 kV. They're 27,000 kV. And yeah, they're pretty fresh. These bells probably have 5 or 6 batteries through them. Just flying in the basement here. I don't even think I crashed these upstairs in the hardwood. So yeah, these bells are pretty fresh, and the stators are very fresh as well. So yeah, they're basically... for all intents and purposes, they are EX 0802 27,000 kV motors that have been mismarked as 33,000 kV. So yeah, they will rip on a 75mm rig. On a 65mm rig, they're good. 27,000 kV is where things start to get interesting. If you're not a complete nutcase like I am, that's probably enough power for you. I do think it's worth it to go 30,000, 32,000 with 702s. That is my preferred setup. But if you're looking to drive like a tri-bladed propeller on a 65, 802s really crank, or even a quad blade prop. Or a 75 that you don't crash all over the place. Or like if you were going to build a 75 rig and fly it outside and crash into the grass, these motors would be awesome. You'll be able to run the new HQ super lightweight 1.6 inch biblades on these motors, and these will jam. These seem to be they don't seem to be, they are a super lightweight 1.6 inch propeller. They would match up really, really, really well with those motors. Again, just don't crash super hard. Although, you know what's interesting? Those propellers are so lightweight and so thin that they would not impart a lot of energy into the motor shaft. So those HQ propellers would probably be a really good match with these motors versus the GemFan propellers that are nice and strong that are going to push really hard on the motor bell. So you might actually be able to run those HQ props on these motors and not ruin the motor shaft super quick if you're going to be crashing them. Walter says, this is not good response. They're looking and enjoying your squirming. BLD0550 says, yeah, I guess I didn't think of that. Fufu Panda says, what's your opinion on the Meteor 65 Pro frame size? I have tried the Meteor 65 Pro frame a bunch of times over the years, and the biggest problem is that there are no bi-blades for it. Yes, you can cut 2 of the blades off of the quad blades, but they'll never be perfectly balanced. So that's the real problem with that frame. The lightest weight propellers are tri-blades for it, and they're pretty heavy propellers. And it just doesn't fly good. I've tried it with 702s, I've tried it with 802s, all different KVs, lightweight AIOs, regular AIOs. That frame solves a problem that doesn't exist, is the best way that I can put it. The 65mm rigs are ultralight, and they make tons of power now that we have high KV motors. The 75mm frame is really efficient, and you can put a big old battery in it, 450 or a 550. The 65 Pro frame, like, you have to run a small battery, and it's heavy, and there's no good propeller selections. So it's like, it doesn't do anything all that well. Like, if you want to go bigger than a 65, go to 75. You're going to have better propeller selection, better battery selection. If you want to stay nice and lightweight, stay on a 65. Like, it's, which realistically, it's a good thing. What we don't need is we don't need another frame size in between. 65 and 75 are perfect. They both do different things really, really well. What we need are more motors. We don't need more frame sizes. We don't need more propeller sizes. We need more motors. That's what we need, and we need higher KV motors in a lot of cases. So yeah, the Meteor 65 Pro, yeah, I've tried it a bunch of times, and it just doesn't. The propellers are so heavy that you have to run that you need to run 802s. And at that point where you're running a heavy 802, a 75 is way better. And so you might as well go up to a 75 at that point. The weight, and then, like, it just, battery life becomes a problem because you got a big heavy motor, big heavy props, heavier frame. It's stuck in this weird, like, no man's land of confusion and sadness. That's pretty dramatic, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to put this RCinPower 1002 back onto this clearish white frame, because I think the RCinPower 1002s are going to be the ones that I keep. The Zing 1002s are definitely for sale. I think at some point here the Flywoo 1002s are also going to be for sale. And yeah, I do want to keep one set of 1002s because maybe they're good on, like, a 2-inch toothpick. I don't know. I'll keep shopping them around to try to find the best possible home for them. And these RCinPowers are cool looking. Like the pink and light blue thing is smexy. Do the kids still say smexy? No? Oh well. They did at one point. Ramdonko says, hey, I did a thing. CiottiFPV was going to try a vid, but I'll show you for a birthday on Discord. 1 second. Let me know where it is on the Discord. Freeloader says, happy B-Day. Thank you, dude. Walter says, is a full battery more heavy than an empty one? Better ignore them today. It is not. Electricity does not weigh anything. So yeah, batteries don't change weight whether they're full or empty. Arcs UK says, if you want to put the 1003s on the Meteor 75 Pro frame, I think you have to sand off the little triangles in the frame because of the different mount. Does the Meteor 75 Pro have those stupid little wings as well? I didn't think it did. I thought it was just the air frame. Oh, it does. It has a whole big... It has a whole... It doesn't just have, like, little... Whatever. Kill me. I did, for my birthday, though, get a set of Dremel attachments. A big, 150 180 piece, whatever, 186 piece Dremel attachment thing. So yeah, I'll do that. Not on stream. I'll do that off stream for sure. SOS Death Valley says happy birthday. Thank you, dude. Kevin James says happy birthday. Matter Ertzkin with a $25 super chat. Thank you, homie. I'll read the comment in 1 second. Walter says, I use coins for scaling weights. That's a good idea. Limits20 says happy birthday. Stavel says, did you ever find the M4 stick ends? Looking to try if no one has them. Nope, they are gone. The M4 stick ends, it was almost a year ago. It was like 10 months ago that there is a shipping label that shows still pending. So it either got lost in the mail or whoever the last person that had it, it's under their desk or whatever. Maybe somebody will find it someday, or maybe the mail will find it and they'll return it to sender. But yeah, I have a funny feeling that the M4 stick ends are gone. It was inevitable. The stick ends went out to a lot of people. The M3 stick ends are still around. They're still bouncing around between people right now, actually. So yeah, kind of is what it is. I absolutely knew that was going to happen. And the M4 stick ends made it to a lot of people before that happened. So it was still a good project that we did. It was cool. Scrolling back up because YouTube is a donkey. Limits20 says happy birthday. No, we got that. Ramdago says, did a couple of pics for you of a 65X idea that might cheer you up. Ramdago says, where's Discord? Discord, where the hell are you? There it is. Where is it? Is it in Patreon Hangout? No, it's not. Oh, that's interesting. Andy Wellma says, looking at the most famous dentist's motors a while back, and the 16mm was on my radar. Just checked again, 3mm titanium shaft, although bearings are 2x5 by 2.5. That's weird. So not sure the shaft is 3mm all the way through. Yeah, it can't be. That's interesting. Read deeper on Rosser's page. Seems like a good option, though. Any input? Kebab's 16mm motors are ultra notchy, so they might cause some like jello issues, or they might be really difficult to tune. They're also a size that is like a little bit too big for 3.5-inch propellers. It's more of like a 4-inch motor, and 4-inch builds are rare because there's not like a camera. There's not like an HD camera that really makes sense for a 4-inch build. So yeah, I've always wanted to try them, but I never have because there's just never been a build that motor would make sense on. But yeah, someday there will be. Someday there'll be like an action camera that's like 50 grams, and that'll be perfect for a 4-inch rig. There's a chance that the Avata 2's camera and VTX setup, which will be the 04 system, I'm guessing, there's a chance that will weigh enough where 4-inch rigs make sense. So we'll see. If that's so, that would be incredible because there are some really good 4-inch propellers that are out there. So we'll see. And it would be nice to see 4-inch rigs get some love. I'm looking in... here's Ramdonko. What are you doing, Ramdonko? What's that? You mounted the G-string mount in the front. Well, that's pretty fantastic. I like that a lot, actually. I never thought to do that. That looks like it worked really well, too. Yeah, this is the G-string mount that destroys your AIO when you mount it the way that they want you to on top of the AIO. That is really, really cool that the side ears reach out far enough to get to the motor mounts. Jesus. if I'd thought to do this, I could have saved Timmons a ton of work. Although I like our little setup better, I think. Man, that's... Good Lord. Yeah, it looks like they've got a bunch of holes here, and you use one of these front holes. Damn, dude. So the problem with this mount is going to be that the battery is going to slam into the back of the camera. So that's what Timmons and Mai's Batwing mount does really, really well, is it lifts the camera up a little bit from here so that your battery can slide all the way far forward. This setup here on a hard crash, the battery is going to bash into the back of the camera. It's probably going to be okay. You can probably brace the battery against the back of the camera. This looks really strong here, so it's probably actually fine. But yeah, with the Batwing mount, the battery will go all the way forward, and then you can run your BT 2.0 leads nice and short and save a little bit of weight. But man, this is really cool. This is a really, really cool little setup here. Good shit, dude. I like it. I like it. What else is happening here? What's going on in the chat? Gold Power says, old LiPos, how puffy is too puffy for a goggle battery? I mean, my main concern would be it lighting on fire against your head. So the puffier it is, the better the chances of your hair catching on fire. But goggles don't really they don't pull hard on the battery. So the fact that it's puffy, you know, it's only gonna underperform like towards the end of the battery life. So I guess the real answer to the question would be until it doesn't give you enough life, right? Like, because the puffier it gets, the more saggy it's gonna be. So like you fully charge it and you run it, and you know, if it's brand new, you're gonna get, I don't know, an hour out of it. As it gets more puffy, you're going to get 40 minutes out of it, 30 minutes out of it, 20 minutes out of it. Eventually, you're going to get so little time out of it that you're like, screw this thing. But that's about it. Yeah, that and the danger of your head catching on fire are really about it. But yeah, I mean, a puffy battery in a situation that doesn't pull hard on it is a great home for it, as long as you're willing to take the risk. Although... Them, yeah, no. They are more of a risk when they get puffy, because they get. Why do they get puffy? They get puffy because the pouches are starting to leak. I think, right? Like there's a tiny little pinhole in the pouches, or are the pouches expanding? Actually, I don't know. I don't actually know what the cause of them getting puffy is, but I know that when they get puffy, they start to perform a lot worse. But yeah, goggles don't pull lots of amps, so it won't really matter. It's a good question. Siskel says the 1102s were 2.7, and the 1003s are 3.4. I just weighed both. Yeah, so 2.5 for 1002s, 2.7 for 1102s, 3.4 for 1003s. I think mine were 3.35 maybe. So yeah, the 1003s are heavy, but they might make a bunch of power. And I'm okay. I'm okay with a little bit of extra weight, as long as the biggest problem that I'm trying to fix on these Walksnail 75mm rigs is power. And sometimes to get more power, you have to add weight. Sometimes you can add a bunch of kV and get the power that you're looking for. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes the motors are already at their maximum amount of heat sheddability, and adding a bunch of kV doesn't really make the situation better. That's basically the situation that we ran into with the 802s, going from 27,000 to 30,000 to 33,000. We gained a little bit of power, for sure. We gained a little bit of power. But that was really only in the house. Once I started flying them outside using a higher amount of cruising throttle, because it's bigger outside, the 802s felt terrible. because they were just getting too hot. And when motors get too hot, the magnets saturate with that heat, and magnets don't work well the hotter they get. And so they end up losing power, and then you've got this round and round you go, basically. Oh man, this propeller just like fell onto this motor shaft. Let's tighten it up a little bit. If you've got a propeller that's too loose on a motor, take your least favorite sharp-tipped tweezers. It's going to bend the tips, which is why you want to use your least favorites. Take it, put it into the propeller hole at a 45-degree angle, and rotate it around. What you want to do is dig into the plastic. You're going to dig in and leave a low spot, but then to the left and right of the low spots, the plastic is going to go up and create two high spots. And then that propeller will grab the prop shaft a lot better, like this one just did. And now you've fixed your propeller. The other way to do it is to put some CA, super glue, in there and let it dry. And the super glue, when it dries, it has a lot of texture. And so when you put it on, that texture is like grip, and it'll bite against the propeller shaft. The problem with doing that is if you take the prop off and put it back on, take it off and put it back on, it'll push all that super glue out. So it's a temporary kind of fix. And then, you just do it again. No, I do not want a tattoo. That's a weird text message to get. Bob Bruce says, happy birthday. My birthday was on the 4th. I also turned 43. Hope you had an awesome day. Damn, dude. There's a whole bunch of us that are 43. Bunch of old heads. Big J 541 says, happy birthday. Thank you, dude. Stephen Woodruff says, have you seen the heads up Cinewhoop race build? I have indeed. Any thoughts on the components? I know it's really not your area of expertise. So there's really nothing extraordinary about his race build. That's pretty much the race build that all the racers have been doing for probably about the last year and a half. His race build is almost identical to the race build that I did on Joshua's website, fpvknowitall.com. So yeah, it's kind of a known quantity. I love that Evan has a really popular video showing how to do that build, because it's a great build. But that build is kind of old hat by now. For racing, it's awesome. It's what pretty much all the racers run. So there's nothing wrong with it. But I mean, I watched the entire video expecting to get a little bit more out of it, and at the end of the video, I was like, okay, I should have just assumed that it was the same race build that everybody does. But that's fine. Those guys did an awesome job. They made a video where there kind of wasn't one, although I'm sure there is another video. I'm gonna try to remove Tokyo Dom. Told me that the right way to remove the heat shield, heat sink, heat spreader on the Walksnail VTX is with plastic razor blades, so that you don't screw up the components on the VTX. And apparently, instead of trying to pry it off, you cut the adhesive on all four corners, little bit at a time, and then eventually it'll just pop off. So that's what I'm going to try here. But first, I'm going to try to separate the rubber grommets, because they've been pushed together for so long that they have become one with each other. That's ridiculous. Get out of there. Come on. There we go. Get out of there. There we go. Okay. So he says, do you guys really need to see this? Do you really need me to do this on camera? He says you go into the corners. I love the idea behind these plastic razor blades is great, man. Not being so worried about cutting the shit out of yourself. I am into that. Razor blades and X-Acto knives are horrifying, man. These plastic ones, like, yeah, they're not. I mean, I guess if I really drove this into my hand, I might be able to cut myself, but I don't think so. The edges are really not all that sharp. It looks like one edge is a slightly has a sharper angle to it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of running it from the corner down the edge. I gotta be honest, I don't think it's working, but maybe it is. I've done two sides now. It doesn't seem like it's thin enough to really get under that. It's bending the corners of the plastic razor blade quite a bit. Luckily, I got a big old box of them from a birthday. So once I ruin this one, I can just swap to another one. This screw was invading my crotchal region. Get out of there. No screwing, crotch. No never mind. All right, hold on. Let me get these screws out of the canopy. These M1.2 by 12. Big J says happy birthday. Thank you, dude. I already did that one. Metaritson says it was the BetaFPV Cross AIO with ELRS that came set to 96. That's it. Good call. At least the two I have did. Yep, you're right. Yep. The BetaFPV Cross AIOs come on 96. Skip Disco says happy birthday. Thank you, brother. Brandon Bean says I feel so old. Went for a hike, got attacked by mosquitoes. Still tried to fly long range, got absolutely devoured by mosquitoes, and I had to escape by running back uphill to the car. I'm beat. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you as well, Brandon. David Chong says, happy and blessed birthday. Hockey Round says, who is older, Brandon's Baked Beans or CiottiFPV? What time you were both born? I was born very, very early in the morning. I'm almost certainly older. I want to say 2 a.m., maybe 2-something a.m. I was born. I was a pain in the ass, as I am now. Yeah. I did not come out for a long time. Although I was very premature. I had to go directly into, I don't know, a bubble, whatever the hell those things are. ICU bubbles, or I don't know if it's ICU, but I'm running this plastic razor blade down the third side of this heat spreader thing. Still don't think it's working, but I'm just going to keep going. I've got one corner left that hasn't been bent to hell, but this is the side that's equal with the MIPI. And so it's going to be a lot harder for me to get this down onto this side here. But there we go. I'm trying. Got it on there. Man, this is it's hard to get these things off. And I've heard that they're not selling the version of the Walksnail VTX that doesn't have the heat shield on it anymore. If that's true, that means that everybody that wants them to be nice and lightweight is going to have to do this, which really sucks, because this does not seem to be working, what I'm doing here, at all. And the other way to do it, the one that I previously did, was very difficult. I've done two of them. The one of them I fucked up and broke it. Yeah, no, this isn't doing anything. It's not thin enough to get in there. Like the gap is incredibly small. I'm gonna have to get medieval on it, like the last one that I did. I'm 50-50 though. I've done two of them. The one of them I broke. The other one I didn't. I don't remember what I ended up doing. I think I was using a an X-Acto knife. Oh boy, this is gonna be. I did not like doing this last time, man. What I'm trying to do is just dig it under there. Ever see a guy bleed on his birthday? Might be about to. I'm not pushing hard on the X-Acto knife. I don't want to show you guys this because if I gash myself open and spray blood all over the place, YouTube will probably ban me. I mean, it does... The X-Acto knife does kind of like lock in between the heat spreader and the chip pretty nicely, so I'm not super worried about it popping out, and I am like, I'm not putting much pressure on it. I'm more just like wiggling it back and forth. Yeah, it's getting in there. It's getting in there. Just being gentle. All right, let's take a look. Oh yeah, that's getting the job done. Hell yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, all right. So I'm just going to be patient with it. I'm just going to sit here on all four corners with this X-Acto knife. I'm just going to gently put it in between the chip and the heat shield and just kind of wobble it, wiggle it back and forth, not putting a lot of pressure on it. It's slowly just kind of digging in there. So I'm like wiggling it back and forth like this, and then I'm also twisting it a little bit because, you know, the heat shield is here, the chip is here, so I'm putting it in the corner, and I'm just kind of like to get it to get under, and then when I twist it, it's ever so slightly lifting up on the thing. You can safely do both corners here. It's not really going to be safe to do this side because there's all these components in the way. So I'm just going to focus on these two corners here, and hopefully I can pry the thing up and off without really pulling up on it. If Tokyo's Dom is watching this, I'm sure he's not happy. And I'm sure that he's right. I'm sure he has some magical way of doing it. I just can't figure it out. Basically what he says is that you need to cut the heat transfer paste out of there. You don't want to try to pry it up and off, because when you pry on any surface mount board, it's just that, it's surface mount. So if you go prying up on it, you can pretty easily pull those components up and off the PCB, and you don't want that. But I don't see how we would get under and cut all of the thermal paste off of this, because these plastic razor blades are just not long enough. Let me try it with the X-Acto knife, though. Let me try to go along the side there. Did that do anything? No, that didn't do anything. The problem is the heat shield is just so flat against the it's just so flat against the chip that I can't really get anything in there. I mean, I can barely get this X-Acto knife into the corners of the damn thing. Hopefully they have not discontinued the version of this that has not had the heat spreader heat shield installed, because that's the best case, is to not have to do this at all. But I've only been doing this for a couple of minutes, and I've got this X-Acto knife in here pretty good on this corner. And I'm not bending the X-Acto knife all up yet. And yeah, I got like a nice little gap going there. So the way that I did the last one, which did work, is I got a little bit of a gap on the corner, and then I just took a really thin bladed screwdriver. I think it was this one. This is the Weha 260. I put this guy under there and just started twisting at the screwdriver, and that popped it up and off. It did take a bunch of force though, which is scary. But the last one's been fine. We've been running it for a while, and it's been totally fine. And I don't see another way of doing this. I need more of a gap there, so I need to get the X-Acto knife back to work. And I'm going to really resist the urge to start cranking on this, because as soon as I start pushing hard on this X-Acto knife, that's going to be when it slips out of here and I gash the shit out of myself. So I'm going to be nice and patient. I'm just going to keep wiggling it back and forth here while it's buried in between the two layers. And every once in a while I twist it a little bit. That's going to give it the like lifting force. This is sketchy, man. I don't like this at all. Oh yeah, it's in there now. Oh yeah, that might be it. I think that might be all I needed. Yep, there we go. Screwdriver's getting in there. Okay. All right, screwdriver's in there. And now I'm just kind of doing the same thing, but I'm putting more twist on the screwdriver. Oh boy, I remember this from last time, man. It's like really on there. And you can't, so I used heat last time, and that was a complete waste of time. It's a heat shield, and it's thermal paste. It's meant to deal with heat. So the heat didn't really seem to help last time. I mean, it can't hurt. The problem, though, is that when I use heat, the whole board gets hot, and then I can't hold the board because it burns my fingers. Hat Trick says, rapid fire top 3 in order: 75mm, 40mm prop whoop frames. Quick and easy. I don't necessarily have an order yet. The Mobula 7 V4 is the one for analog rigs where you're going to use a Happy Model board. The Meteor 75 Air is the one that I use for the Walksnail builds because they use the BetaFPV Cross AIO. I don't think there's a third. I guess the Meteor 75 Pro would be the third choice, but it's big and it's heavy. But it lets you run the bigger props so you can make more power with it. Rabid Rabbit says, how are the T-Motor 802 25,000 kV 1.5mm shafts? They don't exist. It doesn't actually have a 1.5mm shaft. It's got it's a 1.5mm shaft down below the bell, which all of these are, but it's a 1mm shaft up above the bell. They market them very weird, and they make it seem like it has a 1.5mm shaft, but yeah, it's not above the bell that it's 1.5. Super annoying. Justin Waller says, I'm running 22,000 kV 1102 on a 75 Pro analog rig with tri-blades and absolutely rips outside. Get those tri-blades off of it, dude. The GemFan 45mm tri-blades are super out of balance. Switch over to bi-blades and it'll fly even better. Somebody pointed that out to me, and then I tested it, and I was like blown away by how out of balance the tri-blades are. And yeah, 22,000 kV should be enough RPM for the bi-blade 45s to make good power. Ooh boy. Here we go again. More prying. Hopefully no destroying. What I'm trying to do is pry downwards. And use the leverage to kind of pick up, but it's kind of bending the corner of the PCB, which is a little bit scary. Now I'm kind of trying to move the screwdriver down the length of the heat shields here, and that seems to be working. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, it's got... All set, friends. That... we did leave some marks, though. Yeah, we left some digs there. I think I did on the other one. Cool. Yeah, I can see the orange plastic from this guy, and it didn't get in between the layers far enough to get to the thermal paste. So yeah, I don't know. If you're gonna go this route, you need to find these that are like incredibly thin. These are like I don't know. I just picked a set of 100 or whatever off Amazon, and these are definitely too thick. You would need to find a thinner version of this. But all's well that ends well, in theory. Hopefully I didn't destroy this. The next thing you need to do is wipe off all of the thermal paste, which you want to be careful of. That is I've been told by a whole bunch of you beautiful bastards that it is a heavy metal, and yeah, you got to be careful with heavy metals. You don't want to get them into your stomach. So I'm going to use gun cleaning patches that I have left over from my airsoft days, and then we'll be good to go. It's just, they're basically like just lint-free sheets. And I always forget that I have them. But they're nice to have. There's no reason for me to use something lint-free. It's just this is the closest, essentially, paper towel that I've got. Wow, what the hell? Gotta really scrape it to get it off. Jesus. Usually thermal paste is like looser than this. This is pretty thick shit. All right, we're getting there though. All right, there's the center. Now let's go around the outside. Nothing to see. I'm just cleaning, my friends. What'd you do Wednesday night? I watched the guy clean. Did a bunch of cleaning. It was thrilling. Thrilling stuff. I'm using my fingernail on the other side of the... Yeah, that's getting it off. That's getting it off. I guess you don't technically need to remove it. You could just leave it on there, but... Especially because it's so thick. It's not... I wanted to remove it because I didn't want it to get all over everything, but it's like a fucking paste, so I kind of wish I'd just left it. It's not really reusable, though. I wouldn't be able to put the heat shield back on with it or anything like that, so I kind of may as well have just left it. Although if I do ever want to put the heat shield back on, the one that I just threw in the garbage can, I would need to use fresh thermal paste, at which point I'd probably remove this stuff anyway. But whatever. It's gone now. Nice and clean. All right. All set. Heavy metal residue fell on the other one. I just picked that up with my finger like a donkey. And the rest of it can go on the floor. Okay, cool. So let's get this put back together. We'll put this into the 1003 frame, and then we'll see how they are. I'm actually really excited about the 1003s. Maybe they're amazing. How the hell? Okay, yeah, this goes like this. This goes over here. Hold on. Let me just wipe my hands off. I see like little pieces of something on my hands, and I just want it off. And I'm also going to just wipe the desk off a little bit better here, just to be safe. Okay. Matt Dirtskin with a $25 super chat. He says, there are wild turkeys outside my window. Just thought you'd like to know. Yo, turkeys are nasty motherfuckers. What is their deal? Like, are you trying to make me eat you? Chill the fuck out, you disgusting raptor-looking fuck. Like, you're already ugly. You're nasty. And you don't bother my stomach. So, like, keep it up, jackass. I'll eat you all day. I'll eat just turkey. I'll be on an only turkey diet. And I'll just wipe as many of you out as possible. They're so nasty that even South Park has immortalized their awfulness. Thank God for turkeys, man. I don't know why. I don't know why I said thank God for turkeys. Give me a break. It's my birthday. I guess it's because I can eat them without getting a tum-tum ache. You don't hurt my tummy. Getting these boards together in a way that they're like kind of happy takes a minute. But I got it. All right, cool. We're going to put this under the 1003 frame, which is this one. Arrow in the back, of course, because we're not a bunch of idiots. All right, here we go. Is this okay not doing it with the bench cam? You get to see all the faces that I make when I'm doing this stuff. I figure that's probably more interesting than just seeing me put a Cinewhoop canopy into a frame for the 700th time. Okay, we're good. And so we're going to put the front screw in first because it does not go through the canopy. And if you don't do that, you'll have to take the whole thing apart again to put the front screw in because the lens gets in the way. The Snuffleupagus setup with the Mobula 6 canopy has the front lens right above the front screw. So always put that front screw in first. Drive the front screw in and then take the boards and push down on them a little bit and just look how the rubber grommet kind of reacts. You want to keep screwing it in until the rubber grommet is kind of like poofing outwards a little bit. The farther you screw that front one in, the stronger it's going to be, although it doesn't really put up with a lot of the abuse. The side and the rear ones do. On this Mobula 6 canopy, you actually need to cut the front. You need to cut the front mounting hole off of the canopy in order for it to sit. In order for it to not hit against the UFL port. And so when you do that, the front screw doesn't go down through the canopy, but it's fine. It's totally strong. And these Mobula 6 canopies used to be like that. They used to not have a, and yours might not even, if you have one of the older Mobula 6 canopies, it will not have the front mounting point. And that's totally fine. I've not seen any difference in strength. There is more than likely a difference in rigidity having that front mounting point in the frame, but it's not so bad that like I've really noticed it. But all things considered, if you can run it as a 4 screw, you should. Pick it up! Ah! Last screw going on. Plug the motors in. Fire it up in beta flight. Get them spinning the right direction. And then we'll fly. All right, cool. 3 canopy screws are in. Let's just tighten them up a little bit. Yeah, same kind of deal. The way that I do it is I tighten it up a little bit and then I push down on the PCBs. That squishes the rubber grommets together, and then I can just kind of see, is it pushing up against the canopy or is there a little gap when I push it down? And then I'll just screw it down a little bit until it's just kind of smushing the grommets a little bit. In their when I'm not pushing down on the PCB, I want the grommets to be a little bit ballooned out. That tends to be the spot where they're tight enough but not too tight. What I don't want is to push down on the PCB and have the screw pop out of the hole, or there to be a gap between the rubber grommet and the canopy. That means it needs to be a little bit tighter. And you want to run these as tight as possible so that you can get as much contact between the threads and the post. That's where you get the strength. If you've got that plastic post and you've only got the screw going in a little bit, it's going to rip the screw right out. It's going to strip it out. You want to get the screw down as deep into that plastic post as you can. I'm using these M1.2 by 12 screws, which will go, I've not had any issues with them yet in using this kind of method. Man, these motor leads are long. Jesus hell. I could wrap the motor lead around the duct on the outside and then plug it in. They do that because these motors are, I'm sure, getting used on 3S toothpicks. Sorry, 3-inch toothpicks, rather. Definitely not 3S toothpicks, since they're 22,000 kV. Although, boy, that would be hysterical for about 3 seconds. Not even. There we go. There's 2 of them. Wow. Look at all that extra motor wire. If these are good, I will put different motor wires on these. Because this is absurd. A chunk of the extra fatness of these motors is in these motor wires. I could probably save at least 0.2 of a gram, maybe more, by shortening up these motor wires. Tempted to do it right now, but I'm not shortening Cinewhoop motor wires on my birthday. That's not how this day is going to go. All right. They're all plugged in. Good God, what? Like a fucking spider, man. It could just... Oh, yeah, it sits up on the motor wires. That's the deal. It's a turtle mode. It's not turtle mode. Shit. This is wild. Hold on. I need to... I'm going to put them in between the ducts. Just to get them out of the way. God damn, dude. Okay, get in there. Get in there, you. Yeah, I'm pulling them up between the ducts here. My God, man. There we go. And there we go. And there we go. Come on. Get up in there. There we go. Okay. That's all set. Oh, that's crazy looking. It should be fine, though. They'll probably stay up in there. All right. Now we're good. All right. So, cheers, friends. Jason Black says, cake day. I'll fax this with the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. James Thomas with a $5 super chat. He says, so did you make your decision on 1002, 1003, 1102, 1103? Happy birthday. You're looking at it right now, James. This is us trying the 1003s. Next up, at some point, is going to be 803s. I don't know of any... Well, yeah, I've got the 1102s over there. We'll try those again. I don't know of any 1103s that are a 3-bolt. If you do, let me know. I'll totally try them. But, I mean, these 1003s are probably going to be too big, so an 1103 is just going to be even bigger. But yeah, the problem with 1103s is they're all 4 bolts for like toothpicks and stuff. Biochi with a 20 real super chat. He says, greetings from Brazil. Happy birthday. Thank you, dude. Rockcrawler with a $20 super chat. He says, happy B-Day, Aaron. Thank you, brother. You guys are too kind. Where was I at? Here we go. Rabbit says, where are the motors at for sale? They're right here. They're in my hand. Just message me, and I'll sell them to you. Scotty Scott says, happy birthday. Got my gangly fan. Looks great on my bench next to my new Omni Fixo. Scotty Scott's got all the good tools. Very cool, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Striker says, would a 3-inch toothpick frame on 4S with 1404s be effective for racing? If not, what's good for 3-inch racing? Me and my boys are thinking of starting a micro racing league at a soccer field near us. The problem with the toothpick as a racing build would be durability. With racing, you're going to crash often and hard. So yeah, I would not go down that route. There are probably 3-inch racing frames. Start hitting all the websites and look in the 3-inch frame sections. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find a 3-inch racing frame. I'm pretty sure Pyrodrone has one called, I think it's Rugi's old design, like a 3-inch floss maybe. But yeah, I would not do it with a toothpick frame. You're going to break too many arms. Striker also asks, would you recommend a different size even for racing in smaller environments than 5-inch? Now, 3 inches is the way to go. And 1404 is a really good size. So yeah, I would do like 1404 T motors, the 4600 kV. They're going to absolutely rail. But yeah, I don't know what to recommend on the frame, but I'm pretty sure you'll find one. CBFPV says, happy birthday. Thank you, dude. Striker also says, when I say toothpick, I mean a frame meant for 1S on 4S 4600. Yeah, no. Don't do that. A 1S frame is designed to be strong enough for the weight of 1S. If you put a 4S battery on it, it's going to explode the first time you crash. Kilo Zebra says, welcome to 43, CiottiFPV and Brandon's Baked Beans. Thank you, dude. 10-second runtime says, I got some of those 31mm, 1.5mm GemFans in both tri and quad blades for my RS 0802 30,000 kV. Will one be massively better than the other? Yeah, the tri-blades. The quad blades are unfortunately way too heavy. But run them both. I've heard from a couple people that they just, for whatever reason, like the way that the quad blades fly. For me, the quad blades are just too heavy, and the response time goes to shit. But some people don't put their rigs into prop wash all the time. I do a lot of moves that really like put these things directly into their own dirty air. So yeah, it depends on the pilot. Doing things out of order. Let me unplug this battery because BetaFlight's going to take a minute to fire up here. Mick Bucas says, "Happy birthday! I was a bubble baby too. Check your PayPal." Oh shit! I see Double Deuce's name. Where's it at? There it is. Mick Bucas with a $25 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, "Happy birthday, whiskey and waffles fund." Whiskey and waffles. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That makes me cringe just thinking about it. Thank you, brother. Very, very cool of you. Make that unread so I don't miss it. Crom says, "Have you seen any adverse effects removing the heat shield on the 1S Walksnail VTX?" Yeah, it overheats a lot quicker. But, you know, you just blow on it, or... I mean, it overheats pretty quick with the heat shield on there, so it's not... It is significantly worse. I will absolutely say that. But unplug it when it's getting too hot, or blow on it, or, you know, get a little fan going, and it's not too bad. It's annoying. The biggest problem is when you crash it somewhere that's far away. Because, like, even turning down the output power doesn't really have much of an effect. I've got mine on 25 milliwatts and they overheat incredibly quick. So yeah, you got to be a little bit careful with that. But other than that, it's not too bad. Motors are all now spinning in the right direction. Let's check them. Props out, props out, props out, props out. We're good. Let me get I will show it to you guys. Let's get an RPM measurement on this. Unloaded, and then we'll do it loaded. Whoops. 82,000. Oh wow, that one motor is way down. What the hell's going on, motor 2? Hold on, let's check it again. 83,000. 78,000 is the highest I saw. That's kind of disappointing. 77,000. 77,000. So motor 1 is just hot. Motor 1 has mega kV, and the rest have normal amounts of kV. So I guess yeah, I don't know, a little bit of a manufacturing defect there. Let's put propeller on one of these motors. I'm gonna put it on motor 2. Nope, I'm gonna put it on motor number 4, and we're gonna. Okay, no, I'm not. We are gonna pull the battery because the Walksnail is probably overheating at the moment. I went to put a propeller on and it just fell onto the motor shaft. So let me try to find a fresh set of 1610s, and hopefully they will grab these motor shafts a little bit. Seems like maybe the motor shafts on these 1003s are ever so slightly undersized, which is kind of annoying, but I would actually rather them be undersized, a little bit undersized. If they're too undersized, that's going to be super annoying. Let's see. This is a brand new set of propellers, and it's perfect. Okay, so they're actually perfectly sized for fresh propellers that you haven't run down a pin vise, which is a breath of fresh ass. Yeah, these motor shafts are the perfect diameter. Outer diameter. Cool. They fit really good on there. Okay, so let's fire this thing up with the propellers on. I've been doing this with pretty much all motors. Do you guys remember what the... we did this the other night with the 1002s. Do you guys happen to remember what RPM we were getting with These are also 22,000 kV, but since it's a bigger motor, it should crank these harder, especially in a loaded situation where there's no incoming, the incoming air is not moving. So let's go here and let's go here. Here we go. I'm not going to do motor 1 because it's crazy. All right. 52,000 I saw. 52,000. I think that's what we were getting with the 1002s. That is not good news. I'm pretty sure that's what we got the other day. So potentially what that means is that 1002s are a big enough stator for the KV. And so what we should see here is no extra power from these 1003s and the little bit of extra weight. In the loaded scenario that we just tested with no incoming, the incoming air is not moving, that is the scenario that's harder on the motor. So that is where a bigger motor should do better. So yeah, not looking great for the 1003s, but we're going to try them anyway, obviously. Rock Crawler, thanks again for the $20 super generous super chat. Robert G says, soak a bit of IPA to soften the compound. Oh, I forgot about that. I wanted to do that this time. I totally forgot. By the way, happy birthday. Thank you, Robert. He also says acetone will work if you have it. Biochi, thank you again for the 20 reals. Super generous as well. Parkour Guy says, better late than never. Happy B-Day, my dude. Thank you, man. James Thomas, thank you again for the $5 super chat. Very generous. Striker says, first crash of 2024 was on January 1st. Crash every day, man. Every day is a crash day. Parkour Guy says, for an analog 75 Jungle Gym Basher with plenty of power, Mobile 7 V4 frame, what size motor would rip the hardest, and what minimum KV would you go trying to build a 1S? Standard, like we've talked about, 802, 27,000 kV is the way to go. 30,000 kV is even better, but you're going to have to buy a set of 30,000 kV 1mm shaft motors, take them apart. Then you're going to have to buy 1.5mm motor shaft bell and take those apart and mix and match. If you do that, use the Happy Model RS 0802 motors. They're cheap, they're readily available, and I think it's the lightest bell. So yeah, you can make yourself a Frankenstein 30,000 kV or even 33,000 kV with the Ipomera when they come back in stock. Striker says, hot take, if you don't crash every pack, you aren't pushing hard enough. I'm with you. I agree. Ugellin says, happy birthday, brother. Thank you, dude. Where's my wrench? Says, BetaFPV is 2.79 per. Thank you, dude. Sigopad says, scroll further. That super chat was like 20 minutes ago. Yeah, it happens. FamG says, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you, brother. My dad's in the chat. What's up, Dad? Nasty FPV says, happy birthday. 25 looks good on you. Oh, I wish. I might look 25, but I certainly don't feel it. Nor am I. I'm 43 today. Ramdago says, how would you spell Snuffleupagus? I couldn't find it on Wiki after 2 minutes of research, really. That's. I guess it's hard to spell it in a way that's searchable. Try Siri. Ask Siri how to spell Snuffleupagus. See if she knows. FamG says, if you make flames on your ESC, you can make a wish and blow it out. You never know. These are big motors. T-Bird FPV's in the house. He says, happy birthday, beautiful. Thank you, brother. Denzel the Terrible says, did you get birthday kisses from Maggie? I did indeed. James Thomas with a $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. Very generous. First Whoop build, Mobula 7, probably Walksnail or HD0. What non-SPI flight controller and motor combo with the Walksnail or HD0 boards? Also, what's the deal with enamel wire antennas? Is that actually good for more than 50 feet? Sorry, Whoop Noob, and again, happy birthday. Yeah, the enamel antennas are totally fine. Mobula 7 with Walksnail or HD0 is exactly what I've been working on here for the last couple of months. I do not have an answer for you on the motors because I have not found my perfect motor yet. The best that I've found so far are the 1002 22. I'm sorry, no, the 1102 BetaFPV 22,000 kV motors. But they still don't make quite enough power for me. We're about to test RCinPower 1003 22,000s, but the little motor tab test that I just did was not super encouraging. So I don't think these are the motors, but we shall test them anyway. Definitely don't go 802s. They are not big enough. You want 1002s or 803s. The problem with the current 803s that are in stock is that none of them are high enough kV. The problem that we have with these 1002s also, and the 1102s, is they're not quite high enough kV. If we had an 1102 or a 1002 that was 25,000 kV, that would be much better, but we do not. So I will continue to test more and more and more and more shit until I find a motor that's acceptable. VCI is making an 0803 27,000 kV motor, but it's out of stock until the middle of next month. I have an order in for them. I have a feeling that that's going to be the one. Unfortunately, it's only a 1 mil motor shaft. So I asked them about making a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft version, and they said, sure, we can do that. Minimum order quantity is 1,000. And I said, yeah, I'd have trouble selling 100 of them, let alone 1,000. I think it's 1,000 individual motors, not 1,000 sets of 4. But still, yeah, there's no way in hell that I'd be able to move that many motors. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully me asking for it has them thinking about it, and they'll maybe make it in the future, because nobody's going to buy a 1 millimeter shaft 803. That doesn't make any sense. That motor is way too heavy for the 1 mil shaft. They might be able to find a manufacturer that's doing like a bind and fly that'll use those motors. That wouldn't surprise me. But that's going to be a bind and fly that breaks all the time. So, I don't know. We shall see. Here we go, friends. 1003s. James Thomas, thanks again for the super chat, man. Super generous. Adam C. says, happy birthday. Striker says, Tiny Trainer Spec League would be really cool. That's exactly what you want to do. That is how you do a 3-inch race league, is with Tiny Trainers. Yep, I forgot about the Tiny Trainer. They've already got Tiny Trainer race leagues, too, so you can just piggyback off their rules and the combos that they're all using. Here we go! Nope. Absolutely not. Nope. Worse than the 1002s because they're heavier. Man, that's a shame. These need to be like 30,000 kV. Look how fucking fat they are. You know what is interesting, though, is that the PID loop performance is great. But it's fine on the 1002s, too. Yeah, it's a big, chunky motor, and it doesn't have enough RPM. It's not even worth it to fly the rest of this battery. Yeah, it makes the exact same amount of power, which is exactly what we saw in that quick motor test. But it's a little bit heavier now. So yeah, we've just added a bunch of weight with no benefit because the kV is not high enough. So what we're going to try is going up to tri-bladed propellers, which I already know how that's going to go because I've done this a million times, but I've never done this with a motor that's this beefy. The main problem with the tri-bladed propellers is that none of them are all that well balanced. So you're going to hear, it sounded nice and smooth just now, and the PID loop was totally happy. You're about to hear it get significantly louder, and you'll probably see more power, but we might need to back the PID loop off. Because of the extra vibrations that are going to happen here. These are GemFan 1635s. Damn, I'm good. GemFan 1635 tri-blades. Ton of pitch. The GemFan bi-blades are 1610. 1.6 inches in diameter, 10 pitch. This is 35 pitch. 3.5 times as much pitch. So this will obviously make a bunch more, well, maybe. More often than not, these propellers are too heavy for the motors. This is a big-ass motor, though. So I think that this will have enough grunt to crank these propellers really nice and deal with their weight. We'll get to see that by how the PID loop performs. But the problem is more than likely going to be the imbalance of these propellers. But let's see. You'll probably hear like a screeching noise or like a rattling noise with these propellers. Let's give it a shot. Battery's still in there. I just missed something. Ramdonko says, same few spins, Freelo Joe. Stream laggy, not my end dropping. Yeah, YouTube is a nightmare lately. Hockey Round says, new motor fund and transfer $20 over towards the... Oh, dude, thank you, Hockey Rounds. I completely forgot about that. So this goes to 20. And then we're going to go RCinPower. 1002. We'll take out the KV. And I'm going to double it because I bought 2 sets of the RCinPowers. 1002 and 1102. No, they're not 1102. They're 1003. Thank you, dude, for that reminder. I knew I was going to forget, and I did. It's not... I'll fix it. You can't have it not look right. There we go, that's better. Okay. Tri-bladed 1635s. Big, crazy propeller. So first I want you to listen. And then we'll rail it around the room. Let's see. Ark says, the best part about how bad the 1003s are is the flight time. It's so bad. Oh, boy. Here we go. Oh, wow. It doesn't even make any extra power. They don't seem super unbalanced. Yeah, no, I can hear it, though. I can hear it a little bit. It's a little like... Oh, this is awful. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is worse. Jesus. I mean, if I just sat it full throttle... See, so you also see that we're starting to get bounce back in the tune. Ready? See that little bounce at the end of the flip and roll? Wow, yeah, that just annihilated this battery. Yeah, these props are not the answer. These props are significantly worse than the biblades. Yikes. And yeah, it really shit stomped that battery. Okay, so let's get these props off. The last tri-blades that we're gonna try are the 1608 GemFan tri-blades. So 1.6 inches, 08 pitch, but it's a tri-blade. So there is a chance that it'll make more power than the 1610 biblades, but it won't. But we'll try it anyway, because... I don't know. Just because. These 1608s are a lot lighter than the 1635s. Let's see how they are. There. And there. And there. And there. All right, that battery is shot and it's hot. We're going to use a battery right off the charger to give this as fighting of a chance as possible. And these long-ass motor wires are starting to pop out. Put them back in here. Get back in there, you. Yeah, whatever. They're all starting to pop out, and it's not going to fly good with these anyway. Here we go. I'll try these motors on like a toothpick or something. They'll probably be good with like a 2.5-inch prop or a 3-inch prop or something like that. GemFan 1608s. Tri-blades. Here we go. Well, they're all right. Way better than the 1635s. Not as good as the biblades, though. Okay. Oh, God. Yeah, it just feels awful. It was better on the 1002s. Damn. BetaFPV 1102s are still the best option. This isn't terrible. This is pretty shitty. It's not the worst. It just sat it on full throttle, and you see a little bit of wobbliness. Oh God, yeah, I couldn't get it off the ground. This is no good. The BetaFPV 1102 22,000s on the GemFan biblades continue to be the best. Yeah, see all that wobbliness? That's because these. That's twofold. It's because these props are heavier, but it's also because it's not making enough power. And yeah, we're at 1:20. And the battery's down to 3.5 already. I have been hammering the shit out of it, though. Oh, I missed it. Yeah, this feels awful. It feels heavy. So these motors will be a much better combo with the bigger props, as we talked about earlier. That's a shame, but I can't say that I'm super surprised, to be really honest. 1003 is a big jump in motor size versus 1002. Think of it this way: 2 millimeters tall to 3 millimeters tall. That's 50% more height, and the height of the stator is what does all the work. The width of the stator is just more mechanical torque. The height of the stator actually pulls the vertical part of the winding is what pulls the magnet across. So yeah, kind of. I had high hopes, but they were. I had a feeling this is the way this was going to be. This is the way this was going to go. But this was a really good test to do. Because what we learned is that even a 1003, look, these 1635 props are no good. That's one of the main things that we learned here. And we also learned that even the tri-blade 1608s need more KV. The problem that we keep smashing into is a KV issue. None of these motors are a high enough KV to give us the RPM that we need for the good set of propellers, which are the 1610s. These 1610 propellers shit stomp every single other prop that's available. And we don't have enough KV for them. I lost one of the, there it is, one of the 1610s. So yeah, bigger motors, like the BetaFPV 1102s, they're a little bit of an aberration in that they're only 22,000 kV, but they're making a little bit more power than the 1002s. I'll bet you if we spin them up, they actually turn a higher RPM. And we'll do that on Friday, probably. We'll dive back into the BetaFPV 1102s because I'm out of motors to test now. So we'll go back to the BetaFPV 1102s, and what I'll probably do is compare them to the RCinPower 1002s again, and we'll spin both of them up, unloaded and loaded, and what I think that we'll see is that the BetaFPV 1102s are going to ramp up to a higher KV, even though they're marked as 22,000 kV. I bet you they turn the equivalent of 22,500, 23,000, something like that, or maybe the RCinPower 1002s turn lower than 22,000 kV. But a lot of this is leading me to believe that 1610 propellers are max. They don't need a motor bigger than 1002 for 22,000 kV. Maybe, and we'll know this when we spin both motors up, maybe they are benefiting from the 1102 stator. Maybe 1002 is ever so slightly too small, and then 1102 is just the right motor size for this propeller on at 22,000 kV. What I'm really excited about the VCI motors is that they're 27,000 kV. And so at 27,000 kV, 1002 might not be big enough. Luckily, 803 is more stator volume than 1002, probably than 1102 as well. So 0803, even if it's not more stator volume, that 3mm height is going to make a bunch more power than any of these 2mm height motors. So bigger, more powerful stator size, higher kV, right? That's what we want. So yeah, I would still love though to see someone come out with a set of 1002s in 25,000 kV, because I bet you they have just enough stator size to crank that higher kV. But yeah, I weirdly don't think that we'll see that, unfortunately. So yeah, that's that, my friends. I'm going to shut this down a little bit early because I meant to do 6 to 8, but I ended up doing like, no, this is perfect. 8:40. I think I came up at about 6:40. Let me get caught up on chat though real quick. Do you guys want me to fly these 1003s anymore? I really don't. They don't. They're not doing anything for me. It would not. The runtime is going to be worse because they're heavier. They fly worse than the 1002s. I mean, I guess if you really want me to, I can back-to-back them. Let's do that. Just for the sake of being totally thorough. I'm not going to tell you which one is which. I'm going to fly one of them, and then I'm going to fly the other one. One of them is going to be on 1003s. The other one's going to be on 1002s. And you have to try to figure out which is which. They're both on the same everything, and they even both are the same exact all-up weight now that I removed the heat shield from it. So I still have 2 batteries fresh on the charger. I'm going to put one in one in the other. James Thomas with a super chat. Thank you, brother. I will read your comment in a minute. Let me just finish up this testing here. We will finish strong. Speaking of weights, let's weigh them. Damn, dude. Disappointing. Disappointing, but expected. So maybe a little bit less disappointing, I guess. I don't know. 1002 rig is 43.6 grams. 1003 rig, I can feel that it's heavier. What? 47.2. How is it that much heavier? It feels like it. Good God. Oh no, that makes sense. They're almost a gram heavier each. Jesus. It physically feels heavier when you pick it up. I'm not gonna fly the whole battery, so you can't cheat and just look at the abysmal runtime on one versus the other. And they're both in the same color frame, so you can't cheat there either. All right, here we go. See if you can pick which is which. Hold on, there's a huge clump of hair in this one. Jesus. Okay. Just making sure I'm not showing it on the bottom of the camera. It's a cup game, yo. It's a cup game. All right, we're going to fly this one. Let me make sure that the up tilt is roughly the same. I'm glad that I checked. It is not. Okay, there we go. Now it should be. Yep. Okay. Let's do this one first. All right, you guys should have no idea. I did not show it on the bottom of the thing. Here we go. Let me try to shrink this. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Maybe that'll help YouTube. I don't know. Probably not, but... Can you not blink like that? Okay, here's the one. All right, so here's this guy. Whoa. Oh, God. All right. I'll land it down here so that you can't see what's on the desk. And we're going to unplug it. And then we're going to take this other one. And we're going to plug it in. We're going to fly this one. So you're just going to type first or second. And you're going to do... which one was 1003's? Was it first or was it second? And you can't possibly know right now because I've only flown the one. So, hold on a second. So, were the 1003's first or second is the question. I double plugged it in, and it did not like that. Let me unplug it and plug it back in here. Hopefully it'll bind. Timmons with a $5 super chat. Thank you, homie. He says, need some more Walksnail mounts. Let's release the black Batwing files. Let's do that tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow will be Batwing day. Oh, can you arm, please? Not arm. Can you connect, please? Yeah. Don't overheat, VTX. Don't overheat. Come on. Be cool. Well, I don't know what's going on here. Let's power cycle it one more time. Antenna looks fine. Okay, well, that's not gone well. Why can't anything ever just fucking work? I hate everything. The BetaFPV AIOs do this an awful lot. They just need to be rebound. It's very strange. I would say like every 10 batteries it does that. It's super annoying. All right, this is the other one. I take it back. They are a little bit different. Ooh. Hey. This is the 1002 rig, as you probably already guessed, because the camera looks different, and it wouldn't bind. But yeah, this does have a little bit less power. The 1003s... The 1003s are doing something. but they're not doing enough. They still don't feel good. This doesn't feel good either. And I would rather get better runtime. The 1003s are not... they're not making enough of a difference to warrant significantly less runtime. This is fucking impossible to fly in the house. Jesus Christ. Fucking 75mm trash. It's not trash. It's just not a house rig. Ah! Yeah, the can you guys see it? Can you guys see that the 1003s are making a little bit more jam? Not enough though. Not enough extra jam to warrant 4 extra grams. Man, I can't do anything with these things in the house. God damn. 75 for the loss. Oh no, we're in the drum set. Well, we tried. We tried. The 1102s are... The 1102s feel as good as the 1003s, but the runtime is, like, acceptable on them. So yeah, they're the jam for sure. Interesting. Interesting. So, yeah. The unhappiness with 75mm Walksnail continues. But we'll get there, man. We'll get there. We'll I mean, I think we're kind of there. There are no other motors for us to test that make any sense. So, for the moment, it's the 1102s. I'm definitely not happy with them. You could put them in the Meteor 75 Pro frame, and they're a little bit better, but it's way heavier. Way, way, way heavier. EEDoc says, did you see the Werdna FPV video that RCinPower has 0702s in testing? I did not see that, but that's awesome. I love that. CMYK says, thoughts on the RCinPower GTS V2 1506 4300 kV. 1506 is an awesome motor size. That's probably a great motor. Yeah, that'd be great for a 3.5 inch, 3 inch pitchy prop rig, 3.5 inch rig. Want to get fly says, happy birthday, brother. Thank you, dude. Ant BVTHC says, how do you think the GemFan 2023s would do compared to the others you tested? The 2023s are the bi-blades, right? GemFan 2023. Oh no, those are the tri-blades. Yeah, I've tested those. They're okay. They're kind of heavy for. They're a really durable prop. They're really loud. There's something about that propeller that it just screams. But if you're building like a durable, if you're doing like a freestyle 2-inch rig and you want it to have a durable prop, those 2023s are great. I wish they had more pitch. They're also pretty low pitch, so you got to spin the shit out of them to get any power from them. That's one of the reasons that they scream. But yeah, really good propeller, really durable. With how durable they are, I wish they were more pitchy. They're in this weird area where they're very low pitch, but then they're kind of heavy. Usually a low pitch prop is very lightweight. So that's a little bit weird, but you can band-aid that by just spinning the shit out of them. Just put as much RPM into them as you possibly can. CBFPV says, what's a good weight for a 3-inch Cinewhoop without a battery? Mine is 250, and I'm wondering if it's too heavy. That there's really not an answer to that question. It depends on so many things. Yeah. 3-inch. Here's the best I can do is give you the weight from. This is my lightweight Cinewhoop. And I'll give you a dry weight on this guy. It's certainly going to be more than 250 though. But yeah, it depends, like full-size GoPro, naked GoPro, GoPro Hero 8 versus 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm at 283. And this is my analog ultra lightweight Cinewhoop that's set up to carry the Hero 8 because it's a little bit lighter. But yeah, so 250 is that's pretty light. That is pretty light for sure. Cole Powers says something. YouTube didn't want me to see it, though. Cole Powers says, there's no possible way for us to see the wobble. Way too much stutter. We'll have to take your word for it. That's super annoying. I wish YouTube would get their shit together. Arc UK says, might need to drop the bitrate on the next stream. The stream is the same quality as the 1003s. There's nothing I can do. Like, I can't do that. I output either 720 or 1080. I believe I'm outputting 1080. And then YouTube does the rest. There's nothing that I can do about that. CMYK dropping the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. Walter says, take paracetamol. GJ, I don't know what that is. What's paracetamol? Paracetamol. Non-opioid analgesic. What is that? Tylenol? That's Tylenol. I'm good. I'm okay. I don't need no Tylenol. I don't need no stinking Tylenol. James Thomas with a $2 super chat. Thank you, homie. He says, so what flight controller for the Walksnail or HD0 build? BetaFPV 5 amp cross style flight controller. It's really like the only flight controller being made right now that's even remotely usable. Somebody said C is for cookie. 10-second runtime says, will the 1002s be as powerful as 1003s on 2S2? Rig, 45mm baby turtle frame, biblades, X12, BT 3.0, 300 mAh. It depends. It depends on what propellers you are running on it. If it's a 45mm baby turtle, yeah, I don't know what props are on that, but the 1003s, the 1003s don't make any sense on this 1610 propeller. This propeller is not loading the motor up enough for it to really take advantage of the extra motor size. It is a little bit, ever so slightly, but not nearly enough. You might as well run the BetaFPV 1102s if you're going to be running this propeller. If you're going to run a more pitchy or bigger propeller than this, then the 1003s will come alive. Justin Walker says, have you tried the Hype Train 24,000s? I have not. I ordered a set. When they came, they did not have motor plugs. I said, no, I'm not doing that. 24,000 kV is not, I don't know. The Flywoo 1002s are 23,500 kV. When I tested them against the other two 22,000s, I didn't feel any difference. So either they're not actually 23,500 kV, or this propeller on a 1002 22,000 kV is the realistic max. I don't think that's the truth. I think that those Flywoos are a little bit under-spec'd. But I'm not going to direct solder motors. It's just stupid. These AIOs that I'm running, I have the plug versions of these AIOs. Do they even have provisions for direct soldering motors? Yeah, I guess they do. Maybe? It looks like you might need to break the plug headers off to direct solder motors to them, and I ain't doing that. No, it looks like I could. Regardless, I'm not doing it. Sorry. It's just stupid. It's stupid to sell tiny whoop motors that don't have plugs on them, and I'm just not doing it. It's just dumb. And I tried asking a couple people about them, and nobody seems to have run them, including Bubby, whose motors like they kind of are. And so, yeah, if he's not even bothering to use them, then why would I? I don't know. Maybe they're a little bit better, but I don't think that they would be better. Like all of these 1002 22,000s are here. The BetaFPV 1102 22,000s are here. Those Hype Train motors seemed kind of heavy. They would probably be right here. They're not going to be a huge jump, more than likely. And yeah, I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing the direct soldering thing on tiny whoops. It's just not. I'm not going out like that. It's stupid. Thanks, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Support me over on CiottiFPV.com. Join the Patreon. You get loads of benefits. I swear to God, you will save more money being a patron than not being a patron because of all the cool stuff that you get. And you'll support me, and I'll tell you what not to buy. And as soon as you don't buy something, you've paid your Patreon for like a year. It's only $3 a month, yo. That's like $36 a year. You better damn well believe that you haven't bought something that's $36 at least because I told you that it sucked. You're welcome. I'll see you guys on Friday. Be good. Click all the buttons. Do the affiliate links. Use affiliate links when you order shit on the internet, please. It's free money for those of us that create content. I love you. Bye. I'm not ready. Here's another couple of Insta360 Go 2 videos from the my cycling gig in Anniston from Saturday. I'll put them right next to each other. It'll be amazing. You'll be amazed. All right, guys. I'll see you Friday. Be good. Bye, 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 bye.